Hi Scorpio, this is a reading for you. Sorry about this lighting, kind of annoying, but anyway, pretty evening-ish light as well. This is a reading for you being recorded at for the last week of May, but it's a timeless reading. If you resonate with it, then it's yours. If not, maybe another time will work. I'm doing a spread that I made up myself this week, so I have to read it from the book. I'm going to just cut your cards and think about the people that might be tuning into this. I'll ask for the best guidance for them, and then I'm going to fan out the cards so that we don't drop them all over the floor and I don't waste time shuffling anymore. So this is about a development spread. Let's see what comes up for you. It's 8 cards. In what ways are you excelling at the moment in life, Scorpio? Death, which is, we know, wonderful. It's about rebirth. And how can I be kinder to myself? Queen of Wands. It's a bit windy, so I've got books ready to throw over everything. And in what areas are there room for improvement in your life at the moment, Scorpio? Ten of Wands. And how can you bypass or work with any resistance that you have to improving your situation that needs improving? 6 Cups. And what message is there to lessen any fear or anxiety about change? 6 of Swords. I think these are going to stay put. And what qualities or natural qualities or assets, that's a neighbour turning up on his motorbike, what qualities or assets, natural qualities or assets do you have to support you at this time? Lovely, the Strength. And what image could you work with this week? Keep in mind, almost like a vision board to help inspire you. 9 of Pentacles, lovely. And what is the best version of yourself that you are here to embody at the moment? Or what are you here, and if the card is a negative one, what is it you're here to overcome? Oh wow, the Sun. This is lovely. How lovely. So we've got 8 cards on the table, and half of them are majors. What are the numbers like? We've got 8 and 9. We've got 2 6s. Lovely. Love it. Okay, so starting with in what ways are you excelling in life at the moment with the Death card? This is quite a scorpionic card. I have big placements in Scorpio, so I sort of understand a little bit about your ability to sort of get to grips with the deep, dark underbelly of things, but also so you wouldn't be frightened of this, I don't think, but also this card really is about rebirth, and we see the death of one king and the new king rising, and we've got the sun in the background coming up, and it's so, you know, the way you're excelling at the moment is that you're riding the waves of change, and I think that you are experiencing a rebirth of some sort, and you're kind of acing that class in college. You are going with it. You're understanding that life is about change, that there's nothing we can do about it, and that also it's lovely to have a restart and a rebirth, and so you are doing very well in that respect at the moment. And in what ways could you be kinder to yourself? We've got the Queen of Wands. she's our sexy queen. She's sat there with her legs open on her stone throne with those two lions either side. It's interesting what pops out each time when you're looking at them. And that very alert, intuitive black cat at her feet. So the Queen of Wands would counsel you to, be a bit selfish. That's what she would say. She would say, value yourself highly, realize how intuitive you are, enjoy creating. She's the kind of mother, because all the queens are mothers, but she's the kind of mother who would, in fact, give her children all the skills they needed to get on and do well in life, but she wouldn't mamby-pamby them. She sort of pushes them out of the nest a bit. So she'd say, be a bit selfish in this new phase of your life, and that's how you'd be kinder to yourself. And in what areas is there room for improvement? Well, we've got the Ten of Wands. This shows someone who's potentially a bit of a workaholic. You are carrying too many burdens, and I think that's why the Queen of Wands has turned up to tell you to be a bit more selfish. She wouldn't carry all those sticks. Nah. He's in danger of missing that lovely village in the background. I mean, it can be almost a fun obsession that you've got with something that you are being so kind of fixated on, but it can just be having too much on your plate, feeling burdened. And so in this position of area for improvement, we need you to have less on your plate. We need you to feel a bit more free to focus on your needs. I mean, okay, you might have loads of things on your plate that you love, and this might be a creative project or work that you absolutely adore. However, if you've got that much going on, it's going to start feeling like a burden. It is feeling like a burden in this card. So it doesn't matter how much you love the thing or how obsessed you are with your work or your creative endeavors. We need you to have full energy to fulfill them properly, and this guy is going to burn out. That's what he runs the risk of doing. So that's your area for improvement. And how can you bypass or work with any resistance that you have to improving your situation? So if you feel resistance to the idea of, I'm not going to burn out, I'm fine, I'm totally fine, I'm used to this, this is who I am, I love my work. If you're, or I do want to drop some of my burdens, but I just don't know where to start. This card is supposed to give you a way of bypassing or working on that resistance, and it's the Six of Cups. So you're being counselled here to think back to simpler times, to what it's a card of nostalgia. Maybe you've forgotten how lovely it is in the village, how nice it is to be like a child who has less responsibilities. I'm not suggesting that you can just be a child and that everything will be fine. Obviously, we do have responsibilities as we get older and become, late teens or older, and some teenagers, quite frankly, have a lot of responsibilities. But in order to sort of prise your hands off those wands, I suggest that you might have forgotten how nice it is, the simple pleasures of receiving, of hanging out with siblings or old, it's that feeling of kind of nostalgia. It's almost like when you're sat in the car and suddenly that song comes on the radio and you might be, really in your to-do list on the way to achieve something, and it just flips you into, that summer. Like for me, it's the Boys of Summer by Don Henley. I think it's quite a nice song. Well, I think it's brilliant. It always made the seagull noises, and I remember being a teenager and thinking about wonderful holidays on beaches and the Boys of Summer, and it's that kind of, I think you need to remember some of the simple pleasures in life. It's coming up to summer. Don't miss the whole of summer because you've been working too hard, or been overburdened with responsibilities, even if they're in your family or a creative project or whatever. Try and remember that there's a balance in life. And it's funny, what's coming to my mind is, as I'm here in Italy at the moment, where I don't live all the time, but my partner lives, so I'm spending an extended period here at the moment, or I have been. I love here that il dolce fa niente, the sweetness of doing nothing. I remember when I first started hanging out here, and I would say, "What are we going to do today?" "Oh, nothing," and by which we really meant nothing, like just relaxing deeply. And if ever I do relax deeply, my boyfriend sees it as an incredibly good characteristic of mine. "Oh, well done, darling." There's none of that, kind of Puritan work ethic of, what about, he actually is an incredibly hard worker, and he likes it when I work as well. There is a balance to all things. He just sees, as does the culture here, the benefit to kicking back, relaxing, restocking. That's why you have a siesta in the middle of the day. Those siestas, it now turns out, it's a time when you're asleep, when there are certain hormones that scavenge around looking for kind of cancer cells in your body. If you're doing that at night and in the day, chances are you're going to stay healthier. And so I think that's how you can bypass this resistance and this kind of workaholic, kind of obsessive quality. Remember, there are other really simple joys to be had. And of course, you might not be in the part of the world where summer is coming. You might be in Australia, you might be about to have winter, but everybody can think of things that make them feel nostalgic and happy, and those simple pleasures. So that's how you're going to help yourself. And then the next 6 that comes after this, I might have to pause the video in a minute, just a sec, is there a message? What message is there to lessen my fear or anxiety around change, generally, change to improve? And the message here, I think, is saying to you, they're going to call out to me in a minute. It's the neighbours. They might see me and come down. Anyway, let me carry on until I have to stop. The message here to you is, you have, I think, when I see it with the death card and as who you are at the moment, I think you've been through quite a big transformation. And here we see you metaphorically. I mean, it's a family. It's a guy and a woman and her child. But also we could see that as all your parts of yourself. Maybe your inner child, your different sides to your nature. They're in a boat and they're leaving these choppy waters and they're headed for calmer waters. So I think through this embracing of this death, this change, you have learnt quite a lot, because what we see here is the 6 swords are being put in the boat and are being rowed to these calmer waters, because you've learnt, and they represent lessons. So that you've learned, that you've got that under your belt. You've sort of done this deep dive into this change moment, but you've come back with a prize. It's not been, it's not just, no changes for nothing, but you really have metabolized this experience and you've learned something from it. And so you're headed for calm waters and you've got all your knowledge. So don't be anxious about any change, because you aren't, as we evolve, you are learning, and you, particularly in this situation, have learnt lessons and metabolized them, and you are stronger and more defended, and in the good sense of the word, and wiser because of everything you've been through. So change is not as vulnerable a process as you might, or your inner child might think it is. It allows you to show off these new skills that you've learned, these new wisdoms. You're taking them somewhere new, so that's lovely. And then we have this really lovely 3-card finale, which I just love, which is, what natural qualities or assets do I have to support me? You are the female magician. I mean, when I think of my Scorpio friends, all the Scorpios I know, you do embody a lot of this energy, which is, you're very good at, or the ones I know are very good at quietly getting what they need done without it seeming to be that they've told someone what to do. I love that about them. And because you're wise, and what you have got as a root skill or an asset is you've got that infinity symbol above you. You are wrestling with this red lion of your own unconscious or untamed forces around you. You will know which is more relevant to you at the moment. There is something that you need to effect change on, but you are 100% going to make it happen the way it needs to happen. And she's great. And I also, when I see her next to the six of wands and that wisdom that I was describing to you about, she's wisely and potentially wisely integrating more chaotic underground feelings or impulses in herself. Not to say that we can ever tame them, and nor would we want to, really. We want them in balance. We want our parts in balance, and she's a cool character. So that's great that you've got her on in your kind of roster of skills at the moment. And then what image could you keep in mind for the next week, almost like a vision board, something that will help you feel inspired and strong and healthy and happy? And gosh, the Nine of Pentacles. She's the minor to the Empress. She's just wonderful, abundant. She's tamed that falcon that's sitting on her hand. She's rich. She's a really great individual. So when I look at that with the Queen of Wands as well, and the strengths, I think you're being given a really lovely reflection of your own strengths here, of your I mean, interestingly, again, if you are being a bit obsessive and carrying other people's work potentially, or doing too much for your family potentially, and we've got the Queen of Wands saying be a bit more selfish. The Nine of Pentacles, she is a sort of singular figure. She's thinking about what she needs. She's got all the money that she needs. She's tamed that bird again. So we see you, it's really interesting, we see you side by side taming the lion and the falcon. I think you're really good with, or you are going through a period where you've been really good at riding the waves of this kind of unconscious, tricky stuff. And I think that you're being told by these cards, well done. Like, you seem to have a natural aptitude to working with more chaotic energies at the moment. So now we need you to put down, if there's 10 of them, we need you to put down a lot of them. We need you to have a lot of fun, and remember that there is a balance to be had in life, because look at her, she's in her beautiful garden. You know, she's enjoying life. Listen to that bird. I don't know whether you can hear that bird now. Yeah, just enjoy. Just try and enjoy life. Have that image of a gorgeous garden and you resplendent as a kind of minor to the Empress, you know, congratulating yourself, enjoying the abundance that you have around you. And I don't know whether you can see that little snail right at the bottom. What does she mean to you? Round here, we have, I saw a snail outside someone's house, funnily enough, today. I had this really fun trip to the supermarket, because it's so pretty here. Anything you do in the car is lovely. And because my mind is sort of on tarot, as I was sitting in the car waiting for my boyfriend to pick some stuff up, I saw an iris, which reminded me of temperance. And then on the way home, I saw a snail, which reminded me of this card, actually. It's also because around here they have sort of groups of kind of sections of the community that relate to various different animals, because they have a paleo in Siena, and you know, they take it very seriously. Families are particular supporters of various different animals, the wolf, the snail, blah blah blah. I wonder how that's feeding in. You know, maybe you have a sort of pack of some sort, like you have your team and you're a great leader of that team, like the Queen of Wands, and you've got them all off and running, and you've tamed all their desires. This could be your family, this could be at work, this could be a group of friends. I see you in quite a kind of powerful position, and then we end up with, what is the best version of yourself that you are here to embody at the moment? Or what is it that you are here to overcome? Well, you have overcome in this lovely sun card. You are being pictured here as the sort of spirit of this child who has ridden away from the wall of past hurts and disappointments and problems, and you're in your full manifesting splendid power with that red drape and the sun beating down, creating this lovely yangy energy. So I think at the moment, because you've tamed sides of yourself or those around you, because you are integrating some of your more unruly animalistic sides, or the sort of urges that you find difficult. Somehow you've had a victory. It might be you're doing really well with kind of self-care and you're eating really well, or you just have got, you know, nixed a habit, or you are a jealous person who suddenly kind of realise that you don't feel so jealous or whatever, and that frees you up to use all that extra energy once you've got all of those unconscious, or those wonderful kind of wild sides of yourself working with you. Now you can create what you want, because you've let go in the 12, in the 13 of the death. There is a new rebirth. So what are you going to create next? I think that's lovely. I'm really pleased for you. I hope you have a lovely week. Bye.